I'm really excited because we have Sim Lee, who's a sports pharmacist based in Australia. And he's, as you can see, he's still in his pharmacy, and it's 8 o'clock there in the evening right now. So
Yeah,
long day for him.
long day.
So thank you, Sim, for taking the time to do this presentation. And it is part of Sim's studies with us. He's currently doing the level 7 diploma. So all the preparation that goes into the webinar and the actual delivery of the webinar counts towards his hours of study. Um, and obviously, with our level 7 diploma students, when they do a webinar, they can choose any topic. And Sim, being a pharmacist, a sports pharmacist, he chose a brilliant topic because it's obviously a very niche one, a topic that a lot of nutritionists also want to know more about. Um, and that is basically giving us a guide into or how to navigate WADA, certain medications that athletes take, and looking also at certain emerging performance products. Now, before I pass on to Sim, I just want to do just a quick overview of the diploma. It is our flagship program within our course portfolio, delivered fully online, and it's equivalent to a postgraduate diploma in education standards. So basically, our diploma consists of two long 8-week modules, and then students go on to choosing four short specialty modules. And there's a range of choices, so they can choose anything from hypertrophy to ergogenic aids, relative energy deficiency in sports, supporting mitochondrial health, and so on. And then students go on to doing a very practical mentoring and case studies module. And then they finish the diploma with a research project. So in total, it takes about 2 years to do the diploma. And it is open to individuals with a university degree or level 6 qualification. But we also accept applications from professionals or practitioners that have a professional qualification plus some industry experience. So just to give you some examples, like health coaches or even some personal trainers. And then if you are interested in finding out more, obviously feel free to get in touch, but we are starting our next cohort on the 20th of October. So now on to Sim. Obviously, with this presentation, I think it'd be best if we leave questions to the end, but obviously use a chat box to put in your questions, and then I'll feed them at the end to Sim when he's finished with the presentation. Okay, on to you, Sim.
Hey, yeah, thanks. Okay, it has been a long day, so take it easy on me. So I based in Perth, Australia. So now it's winter time, so that's why you can see I'm in my jumper. So this presentation is actually for educational purposes only. So possible have a lot of my own opinion as well. So but not necessarily the right one or maybe true one. So that's why it is for sharing. And um, the reason of having this presentation is actually I think it's good to having fun sometime to be able to know what we know and as well as to have fun with it. Okay, can next slide. So this is a sports pharmacist. Actually, there's no such thing sports pharmacist in the pharmacy industry. So all I can say possible is a very new industry. So but I always believe that pharmacy is not just medication, but actually is more than that. So then sports is part of it and exercise is part of it. So that's why I have been doing a lot of sports study. Then after that, join Ian, I think 4 or 5 years ago to do the certificate. Then now I'm doing the diploma. Can we do the next slide? So um, normally, the role of the sports pharmacist is, I would say, I quite like my job as a pharmacist because I always feel like pharmacist is the only profession that don't really need don't really need the appointment. So we are actually standing here. So since like from I open the door until I close the door, I'll be here. So let's say today I open from 8 to 6, so I'm here 8 to 6, 10 hours. So people are welcome to walk in and they can ask any question. Of course, our role is like to triage to see whether we are suitable, we can treat it, or they can treat it. If not, then we quite often need to refer out. So we may not be like a doctor, we may not be the gatekeeper, but we actually need to understand a lot of different kind of the profession as well. So can we refer to maybe physio? Can we refer to nutritionists? Can we refer out to different people? So that's why I find like pharmacist, this role is quite interesting. So a- as a pharmacist, we always say we are the drug experts. So if we can't do our jobs better, then who else can do the job better? So that's why we are the drug expert. But because we are just a drug experts, because in the uni we never study about nutrition and stuff like that. That's why I always like curious or want to learn more. So it is the CISN, which is the first certificate, actually opened up my eye. Then after that, I go a bit more further. So now it's doing the diploma. So that I can actually explain more, a lot more about not just the medication, then tie it together with the nutrition. Then after that, I further studied nutritional medicine, then as well as the nutrigenomics. So that's why that's a lot of things can put it together now. Sports pharmacists, of course, quite often we are talking about anti-doping. I just try to move this away because it's in the way. Okay. And as well as the best, if I can work as a multidisciplinary sport medicine team. But unfortunately, quite a lot of times when athlete looking for someone to help, they tends to look for maybe sport therapists or maybe physio, maybe doctors, but they never think about the pharmacist. So that's why one of the goal for me as a sport pharmacist is actually will be able to work as a team with everyone. Can you next slide? Okay, so this is actually my pharmacy. I'm still in my pharmacy, so I have built this pharmacy for maybe over 6 years already. But what I really want to say as a sport pharmacist myself, actually we do more than just dispensing. So I've done the IOC certificate drug and sports, but now I'm actually doing the diploma sports pharmacy. Actually, the member of the ACNM, which is College of Nutritional and Environmental Medicine, actually also been doing their fellowship for maybe in the past 8 years, still doing. I keep a lot of different things. So in this pharmacy, in Australia, we are more focused on HESTA. HESTA, I believe, is the informed drugs or informed sports in other country. So HESTA certified, which is what I keep a lot in the pharmacy as well. Next slide. So this is my health pyramid. So I actually draw this health pyramid after after I done the CISN, the certificate course. So I believe that the lifestyle is actually the foundation. So which is the lifestyle medicine. So the diet, the exercise, the stress management, sleep, substance abuse, and those things are actually the main one. Then only if you need to get better, only after you done your diet, then if you feel like you still need a little bit more, then you go to supplement. So after the supplement, we still got a lot of issue like ADHD and other things. Then we go a bit more further, which is us, which is me. So I put myself in at the third tier, which is me. So before we really want to go to see the doctor. So this is actually the overall thing that I do in the pharmacy as a sport pharmacist. So I actually stock a wide range of the braces, compression, and everything. Other than that, actually, I'm doing compounding. So we do a special formula, we compound, we make capsules, we make special cream. Then I also can do like functional testing, more advanced testing and stuff like that. Of course, we stock high quality practitioner medication or supplement then the last thing is what I normally would do is actually sometime I possible would do some consultation, practitioner consultation. Yeah, can we do next slides? I will do a bit quicker because like this is not the main thing. This is how the pharmacist looks like. This is my small little pharmacy. Can we do next slides? Okay, I do have two video here. I'm not sure whether we can watch it.
I guess we could leave that for people to watch.
Okay, yeah, this is, I just take a small time lapse how to make the capsule and those things last time. So this is where I make all this, yeah, all the magic happen. So like compounding, I do have an unguator, I do have the capsule tray and all different things as well. So this is how we can actually make different things in the pharmacy. Next one. So this is, as you can see, this is the front view of the pharmacy. That is my bite. Yeah, I put a bite there as a statement to say, yep, this is a sport pharmacist. And this is the gold-plated bite. And I bought this bite because midlife crisis, can't afford the Ferrari, so that's why I bought a bike and put it there. Next slide. So I also have two rooms, so which is a consultation room. So this is how the little rooms I have in a pharmacy. Okay, let's move on. Okay, why medication? Why sport pharmacy? Is because, in fact, like elite athlete use a lot of medication, right? So that's why pharmacist is actually one of the important profession that's supposed to be in the team to go through the medication and things like that. So, of course, most of the time we know that a lot of painkiller that they are taking. So that's why 50% of the prescription actually is the NSAIDs. So most of the time is because of like injury or illnesses and things like that. Next slide. Okay, in nutshells, I actually think that the medication that may be used in the sports is actually categorized in three different categories. So number one is the treatment of the medical condition, which is like asthma, ADHD, and those medication. So of course, other than the medical conditions, we tend to use a lot of different drugs in the recreational purposes. So for example, like marijuana and other thing as well. Then the last one, of course, which is a performance enhancement. So which is what we which is my passion actually. I actually love the term like biohacking. So performance enhancement, not necessarily give it not necessary is for elite athletes, but general population. Actually, I see a lot of general population people like us want to get better, get fitter while we still have our full-time jobs. So this is where come in because yeah, we want to be stronger. Next slides. Okay, so let's jump in a case study. So a football player developed seasonal allergy for 2 days before the major tournament. So he come into the pharmacy, then he actually asked us a very simple question. He said, "That's an allergy. I just need some medication for my allergy, right? So what would I do?" So next slides. So first thing, as a sport pharmacist, I normally would jump onto the Global Draw. So Global Draw is actually one of the good platforms. So let's say you want to check the medication, this is actually the good platform to check. So I will go to Australia. So then after that, I'll put into the maybe the brand and things like that to see whether the medication is suitable for this athlete or not. Next slide. So I put in this brand, Trust, loratadine, antihistamine. So which is good, which is okay to use. So then it is suitable for this, for him to use for his allergy. Next slide. So let's say there is no suitable alternative and the treatment is really need this medication and there's no unfair performance advantage. Actually, what we have to do next is apply for the therapeutic use exemption, which is a TUE. Next slides. So this is sort of the life cycle of a TUE. So doctor, physician apply to the anti-doping organization, then the committee of the TUE will decide and get back to the organization, then yeah, let the athlete know. So next slides. Okay, so what I really want to share is, of course, antihistamine is a simple thing, right? And medication, simple one, then we can give it out. But what is really in the pharmacist's mind is not just about the antihistamine, because the antihistamine got different types. So some antihistamine, they have anticholinergic effect. So this is what we really get excited about. So yep, it is the cholinergic system, and the small slide over there, which is my notes, which is my notes, which is got the brain and everything. So this is what we normally do. So for example, cholinergic, anticholinergic, so which is they actually block the muscarinic acetylcholine. So then the brain actually contain a lot of like cholinergic systems. So possible, if let's say I give the possible still permitted drugs to the player, and I didn't think too much about the cholinergic system. So then possible will cause a few things. So which is slow down the reaction time. Then he maybe feel a bit drowsy, reduce the cognitive function. So maybe not suitable for like very for the race and those things. Other than that, of course, anticholinergic effect will affect the sweat gland. So maybe not suitable for the hot weather. Maybe even worse for the endurance race. Other than that, actually, cholinergic is actually affecting the skeletal muscle blood vessel, which is possible will affect the vasodilation problem. I actually was thinking about would the with the acetylcholine with the cholinergic system affect the neuromuscular junction, but then after look into that, actually it's not. So because the muscular junction don't have the muscarinic receptor, so this is what the sport pharmacist will do. So like think a bit more and think a bit broad about it. Next slides. So ADHD. Okay. I'm not sure. Is that getting too boring here? If actually, let's say you got question, you can ask me. So you can just jump in as well. Make it a bit more interactive. So ADHD medication. ADHD medication literature show there's a mixed result. If let's say someone with ADHD, they are competing. So actually what the literature say, there is no advantage on that, because the most of the time we are using the slow release medication, right? So that actually don't really give any advantage on that. But possible advantage is, let's say we use the immediate release stimulant, which is the dexamphetamine. But other than that, like what I want to say is that as a sport pharmacist, we are not just giving out the medication per se. So actually what I'm thinking is about like dopamine. Hey, it's dopamine thing, right? So that's why dopamine help us to be focused. So why he had the ADHD? So is that because of like the enzyme, because of the COM, because of the MAO A or MAO B issue? So that's why that is the reason. Then of course that is what we tends to explain to the customer or maybe to the patient, that whenever they come in, I say ADHD medication may be good, but actually there's a lot of different way we can do, right? So because we know how the dopamine produced by the tyrosine. So, and you need iron, you need different things. So that's possible one of the big part that we can play other than just a pharmacist, like be more functional. Then after that, of course, some neuron may just stop at dopamine. Some neuron will further produce, become noradrenaline. So norepinephrine or noradrenaline, then it have to be broken down into something which can be neurotoxic. So like dopagil, dopa, and then if let's say we are deficiency in B1, B3, a possible impact the detoxification issue, then cause like neuron toxic, right? So this is what normally I do in the pharmacy. So like we actually just unpack it, we put it a bit, we unpack it a bit further, then we explain a bit more further. Okay, next slides, please. Okay, asthma. So no TUE is usually needed for the puffer if let's say we use under the permitted limits under the anti-doping rules. So for example, the Ventolin, which is salbutamol, so maximum 16 puff in 24 hours or 6 puff in 8 hours, or Symbicort, which is maximum 6 puff in 12 hours. But actually the safest approach, of course, firstly, we just need to check for the prohibited list. So see whether the dose are permitted, then apply for TUE if necessary. So like Spiriva is actually not under the WADA prohibited list because they are anticholinergic effect. Yeah, can we move on? Next one. Okay. The second drugs, right, which is a social and recreational drugs. So the majority one is like caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, which is actually permitted. But the one in red color, amphetamine, narcotic, cocaine, cannabinoid, they're actually subject to anti-doping rules and regulation. So WADA actually come out with a list, which is the monitoring list, or they call it monitoring program. The reason is because a lot of people use it, but it's still not in the prohibited list, but they are watching. So see whether, should I put it in or shouldn't I put it in? So like stimulant, like caffeine, nicotine is actually not in the prohibited list. So, but caffeine, which is one of the good stimulant or maybe ergogenic product that we use it a lot of time. So if you look at the last one, right, the marker of the semaglutide and the tirzepatide. So which is the popular medication nowadays? Like we use a lot of Ozempic, we use a lot of Mounjaro, is because for weight loss, for other things as well, and it is not in the prohibited list. So yeah, so it's a good medication. Next one. Okay. The last one is the performance enhancement. So of course, for performance enhancement drugs actually sort of can be categorized in two parts again. So one is the permitted drugs, so which is the non-narcotic analgesic, caffeine, creatine, and nutritional supplement. So nutritional supplement, surprisingly, elite athlete, based on this SportsMed article, they say elite athlete actually use far more than the non-elite athlete, maybe not elite or maybe general population in terms of nutritional supplement. So that's why the market value for the nutritional supplement industry is big. So which is like 2025 is about $225 billion value. So which is a big market, right? So and of course the other one is a prohibited WADA prohibited list. Okay, next one. Okay, let's talk a bit about the popular nutritional supplements, right? So nowadays we see a lot of NMN, NR, NAD and stuff like that. So are they really useful? Of course, maybe research papers say, oh yes, useful or not useful. But I actually just today I will just share my opinion about it. So not evidence based, but it's just my opinion. Next slides. Okay, so NAD. Before we go back to the NAD, I would say like lactate. Right, after exercise, we produce a lot of lactate. But actually, lactate is not a waste product, as we all know. It is actually a very important metabolic fuel. And two of the organs in the body actually love the lactate, which is the heart as well as the liver. So the reason they love the lactate is, of course, we know it is a lot of energy. They can be reproduced to become glucose, which is they can go through become gluconeogenesis to regenerate the glucose, as well as they can be reversed back to become a pyruvate. Then pyruvate can go through the TCA cycle then to produce the ATP. But one of the main reason that the heart and the liver love the lactate is because they have a lot of NAD. So this is only one of the big reason. So that's why NAD important or not? Yes, it's very important because after exercise, we tend to have lactate. The only way to like reduce or to reverse the lactate is actually NAD. So that's why is the NMN or NR or vitamin B3 important? Yeah, I think it is one of the important one. I use NMN myself or vitamin B3, whatever. But I think this is good. Next slides. Okay, this is one of the slides that sort of break down all the biochemistry pathway. Um, of course, the body actually majority of the time we use a salvage pathway, which is the number 3. If you can see salvage pathway is actually the main pathway. So salvage pathway, they use a lot of NMN. Actually, it's NMN or NR directly will be converted into become NAD, right? So we also have the de novo pathway, which is also called kynurenine pathway. Use the tryptophan to produce the B3, but it is very minimal. But the other pathway is actually niacin pathway. So in my opinion, as a sport pharmacist, would I use an NMN or would I use a B3? I actually more prefer to use a niacin because firstly, niacin is cheap and they are well researched. There are more study. So NMN sort of like very expensive and not much of the study done. So that is, let's say someone asked me about, oh, can I use, what do you think about the NMN or NAD and stuff like that? Actually, I actually sell a lot of vitamin B3, so which is niacin. So of course, niacin, they got a side effect, which is a flushing and other thing, but B3 also got a lot of good benefit for cholesterol, for other thing as well. So yeah, this is one of my point of view. Can we go next slides? Okay. Another big topic nowadays is the BPC 157. So I actually asked ChatGPT to give me all the pathway. So this is all the pathway of the BPC 157. We will come back to these slides, but can we go to the next slides? So because what happened is the prohibited list actually say this is prohibited at all time, right? So actually end of story. So yeah, I need to discuss anymore because they're not supposed to be used. But sometimes, let's say we are curious about it and we talk about it, actually it can be quite dangerous. Can we go to the next slides? Because yeah, next slides. Because WADA actually have the prohibited association list. So if you don't know what is prohibited association list, is all the maybe the support personnel or coach or anyone who been deemed to be using or violate the WADA codes, then they'll put their name into this list. So next slides. So, and the suspension date is quite serious, like can be lifetime. I did try to look through to see any familiar names, but Ian is not inside, Simon is not inside. So yeah, they're all good. So next slides. Okay, let's say we are trying to talk about it, or we are using, or as a sport pharmacist, let's say I'm a sport pharmacist, people come in, then the athlete asks me, then I get excited about it because the pathway is really exciting. Then I talk about it and say, yeah, it's actually pretty good, can try to use it. What they can do after that, they can actually report me. So for us, especially we are trying to do the right thing, but we get excited about other thing. As a registered pharmacist, we hold a license as well. Then sometimes it's a bit dangerous because they can just report us through this website. And after that, anyone can report it. So maybe the family can report it, maybe anyone can report it. It's actually quite dangerous. So that's why, yeah, we just don't want to talk about it, the BPC 157. Next slides. Okay, can we go back to the BPC 157 slides? Yeah, okay. I think we still want to talk about it, okay? So let's talk a little bit about this one because like the pathway, um, yeah, I think it's quite interesting. Um, uh, let's talk about the pathway number 2, right? The growth hormone. So growth and regenerative signaling, then they go to the genus kinase, then they go to the stat. Then after that, they produce they actually increase the growth hormone receptor expression. So because growth hormone is very powerful, right? So now I'm 45 years old, growth hormone drop, start to put on weight. Although I do a lot of exercise to put on weight, never managed to shake the fat. But growth hormone is one of the interesting hormone, right? They actually increase the lean muscle mass. They targeted adipose tissue, so they actually break down the adipose tissue. Then they help us to shake. But one thing important is growth hormone actually put us onto the ketogenic situation. So they actually would not allow the cell to use the glucose. So my point of view is like, let's say we use a BPC 157 for maybe what bodybuilding. Then one of the situation is we cannot use the glucose because um, one of the thing of the growth hormone is actually they bounce the glucose out of the cell. So that's why people with acromegaly, they always have a diabetes issue. So then become nutritional wise, if let's say we want to use glucose, it become a problem unless we want to change to the ketogenic diet and stuff like that. So yeah, this is just I just find it interesting. This is just my point of view. Um, can we move on? Like go to the next one. Yeah, further. Yeah. So the key takeaway, um, still got a lot of times, is that right? I didn't really talk about prohibited list today because that is sort of a big list. But what I would say as a sport pharmacist, this is the thing I would say, like know the WADA prohibited list. So know that in and out, understand the medication. But if not, then check the medication using the global draw. This is one of the good website. Anyone can do it. And if not sure, then just ask. The next one is like understand the TUE process. Or maybe there's a guideline or use the TUE physician guideline to ensure the documentation support in good hand. Next slides. Okay, I'm done.
Cool. Yeah, these are
Is it
just our
okay?
yeah, just our contact information if you need to contact us. Obviously it is a big topic, and Sim just gave an overview, covered a few scenarios that he deals with. And we'll open it up for questions, and I'll start with one. Uh,
Yeah, come.
I really like the slide that you had with the ADHD medication and looking at the cofactors, the nutritional ones when it comes to dopamine conversion and so on.
Yeah,
So when an athlete takes ADHD medication, um, I like because you're thinking more integratively, also looking at their nutrition. Do you look at how the ADHD medication and their diet, how that could potentially exacerbate um, certain deficiencies or
yeah,
insufficiencies and some of these cofactors? And then would you
yes.
advise, would you provide advice to the athlete of how to support um, those cofactors nutritionally?
Yes, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Um, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So of course, there's a lot of different way of explaining ADHD. My wife, she's actually a psychologist. She's a child psychologist, right? So then her perspective and my perspective is a bit different.
Mhm.
So then she said, "Oh, ADHD is caused by other thing, blah blah blah," right? So then my perspective is like the ADHD is caused by possible we all eat the same thing, right? We all have the same food, but the body process differently. So that's why some people process a bit faster, some people process a bit slower. So let's say we are in the same condition, no pollution, nothing. But for example, my son, then he possible process a bit faster. So that's why his dopamine is a bit low. So then he may may have the different kind of the reaction to different things. So one way can be done is maybe some supplement or some cofactor can slow down the enzyme, right? We can use like something to slow down the calm or yeah. So we are talking about dopamine here for ADHD. So that's why I felt yeah, possible just a genetic issue, not a really genetic issue because like some people just slow, some people just fast, right? Um, if for the natural way, of course, we as a pharmacist we use a lot of medication, or maybe as a doctor, physician, what else can we do? We always prescribe, right? Stimulant and those medication. But we can do more than that. We can do more than that. So I quite often would suggest, how about we try the tyrosine to start? Then maybe check for your iron, check for your other thing. Then and I will say, this is you. This is actually you. So you don't need to be in the other spectrum, right? This is just you. So is the society isn't that the society needs us to be there. So that's why we need to use the medication. I'm in the high spectrum, not high spectrum. I'm in the high dopamine spectrum. So then how should I do it? Maybe I find it a bit hard to sleep, maybe a bit more aggressive. So then after I understand the pathway, magnesium possible a good way because magnesium help to break it down, right? So I have a customer the other day come in for about the Parkinson. So Parkinson is to do with the substantia nigra not be able to function because of the neurotoxic. So that's why the dopamine cannot be like firing through the neuron. So then the medication that we use is actually more not a curative, okay, more symptomatic relief. Then I explained to him, hey, look into that. Of course, you can use the metadopa. You can use like dopamine agonists and all different things. But the main thing is actually the neuron, right? So the neuron is get poisoned. Possible is because of maybe Doppelju or Dopac or other thing. Let's say you still keep using the alcohol and those things, then that possible harm the neuron. So this is what, yeah, that's what I'm talking, yeah, to the customer. So yeah,
Yeah, I can see a lot of
I
like
know,
thinking
yeah,
going
I know.
on.
I actually
Um,
draw the map out, like draw the neuron and for the customer as well. So this is what, yeah,
mhm.
a
We've
bit,
got we've got a question here by Yelena about peptides, and then got another
ah,
one about Ozempic. Don't let me forget about that one, and blood pressure and those
ah,
drugs. So Yelena says, how do you think latest peptides formulations, which are produced and introduced in the US and are widely what presented widely nowadays for just average humans, are they acceptable to use as a registered nutritional therapist? I use amino formulas myself, and I used to compete and lift weights now regularly, but not peptides. Yeah, peptides
yeah,
are
okay,
different to your aminos.
yeah.
Yeah, I think.
So
Go ahead.
that's what I tell my customer, right? I say, look, this medication, let's say Ozempic, is a peptide hormone, right? Done all the trial and everything, now is actually approved by FDA or TGA and everything. To be honest, all the approved medication peptide still got unknown, possibly they have done a lot of tests, maybe a long term, they still got unknown side effect, right? It still shock us. Oh, it's approved, done all the trial, it still got unknown side effect. I don't know those peptide haven't done the trial, haven't done those things. I wouldn't, yeah, I don't know. Because even the known medication still got unknown side effects. So the unknown medication, I don't know how many side effects they possibly carry. We don't know. So I wouldn't use it. So yeah, it possible have cancer, possible have other thing in the future, or maybe not in the future, or maybe pass it out to the next generation. I don't know. So that's why I wouldn't use anything that is, yeah, that's not fully understand. Yeah.
Um, Helene says, does your pharmacy provide injectables like vitamin infusions? And do your
Ah,
customers ask for them?
sure.
And what is your view on them?
Okay, we provide injection. We can vaccinate in Australia. Very lucky. We just slowly move on a little bit because of a lot of politics, right? Um, yeah, we do a lot of vaccination here, but injectable, not yet. But I do help customer to inject B12. That's about it. Yeah. So whether I believe injectable or not, I depend what sort of injectable vitamin B, vitamin complex, and things like that. Because that's a lot of things we need to think about. Like, are they polarized, or are they like charged, or those things? We just inject something, it may not even work. So, for example, why we can't take dopamine straight away? Why we need to use a stimulant? Why we need to use like methyl-dopa, other thing? Why don't we use the dopamine straight away? Even better, right? So give us a stimulant straight away. But because it cannot be absorbed, so like glutathione is just cannot be absorbed. It's just hard to be absorbed. It can be absorbed unless like liposomal or maybe GABA, right? Powder form. Yeah, we use it for sleep, for inhibition. It's just hard to absorb. It's just very hard to absorb. So like turmeric and those things, it's just hard to absorb. So then maybe cannot be absorbed, waste the money, or I don't know, maybe side effect, or maybe can be absorbed, then have other side effect. If possible, may not be able to cross the blood-brain barrier. Then it end up in the stomach. Then you go to other center, maybe like what they call chemotoxic center. So which is like cause other issue, right? I don't know about that. So maybe um maybe Ian will open another class for that. So then yeah.
Um,
You. Simone, may I ask a bit
yes.
more on that,
Yeah,
please?
go for it.
Would
Go for
you
it.
rather? It's easier than chat, if that's okay. Hi, Sim. Thank you so much.
Hey,
It's
hello.
fascinating, and you have a brilliant brain. So
Thank
the
you.
um, so you said hard to absorb, and are you referring hard to absorb even as an injectable, or were you referring to it as a supplement when you talked about
Hmm.
glutathione and NAD plus, for
Yeah.
because that's a big hype in terms of injectable.
Yeah, I actually not sure. Yeah, I'm not quite sure about this one. So injectable, can they be absorbed after injectable? They're already in the bloodstream, right? Can it be get into the cell or get into the blood-brain barrier?
Yeah,
I don't know.
no.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure about vitamin B and those things, but let's talk about dopamine, right? No, I don't think it can cross at all. Yeah, no, it cannot. Yeah, okay, yeah, can only talk about what I know.
Thank you. That's great. And I have one more question, if that's okay. So you know you have HASTA products. You mentioned
Yeah,
HASTA,
yeah, Hesta
which
certified.
claims are informed sport or something like that. Where do you draw the line? Because there's obviously supplements that must have the third party testing. But what about protein bars and products that contain a supplement? Should they also be
Mm,
tested? And is there a risk? And there's things like milk, which may contain hormones. So do you have
mm.
an opinion on that?
Okay. I definitely will go for Hesta certified protein, whey protein, WPI, WPC, or maybe casein as well. So it is a Hesta certified product. Um,
are you
even
thinking, sorry, are you mentioning
yeah.
like products you would find in a supermarket, Tilen?
So
Like,
the milk,
Like bars,
yeah,
like because you do get batch tested bars,
yeah.
like
And if,
grenade bar, but I would rather use something different that's a protein bar. I don't want to use a grenade bar.
yeah.
Grenade are informed sport, and there are other ones. So, do we know if there's a high risk from taking a sports bar that is not informed sport or HASTA
Hmm.
um, from
I'd
a
say I'd say it depends on who you're working with. If it is a competing athlete that is subject to drug testing, you don't want to take the risk. Um,
yeah,
so I would always go for, yeah, something that has been batch tested, even if the quality is not great. But that's where a lot of the nutrition education comes in, where we can try and support the athlete more nutritionally, get most of their protein through their diet and so on. But yeah, it is a big discussion nowadays about these products that are in the supermarket with added protein to it. Is it a supplement? Is it not a supplement? It's an ongoing debate. But yeah,
And
I don't.
what about the sports drinks as well?
Yeah, like
I mean, just I don't know the names of them, but they're highly caffeinated, and it just seems like some of them, the ingredient list is pretty long.
yeah. Again, if you're working with an athlete, I would not advise taking it.
I know that, but it's just interesting that it's out there and
Yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't do it because unfortunately
oh,
the food industry is not highly regulated, right? So drugs it is.
it's
Yeah.
it's just important, I think, too, to mention to the athletes that they go out and drink, they grab a drink.
yeah,
You don't know
Mm,
always, you don't always know what your athletes are doing, and the drinks can be harmful.
yeah.
mm,
And
yeah. Yeah. Like I show in the slides, this industry is a big money industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone want to be better, super, stronger. So that's why we take anything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And you possible can order anything online, but because they're not regulated, it come in possible it's something different. HESTA certified, although they are tested batch by batch, but you still have the risk there. So it's not 100%. So sometimes I'm thinking, ooh, it's the
Yeah, it's the same
tough.
with same with
Yeah.
informed sport. Like even though it's batch tested, it's never 100%. And that's why it's important if an athlete is taking a supplement that they log the batch that they're taking, and keep a record of it just in case that they are tested in the future. And then they can go back to the log and retest that batch again. Um,
Mm,
I wanted
yeah.
to ask a question about the GLP-1.
Ozempic.
Yeah, because it's everywhere. And I'm pretty sure you are getting
Yeah.
prescriptions every
Yes.
day. Yeah.
Every day. Actually, every day. To be honest,
Um,
every day.
I mean, there
Yeah.
are there are yeah, what's your view on them? And because I get asked about it all the time.
Mm.
Um, yeah, what's your view on them?
Ah, my favorite medication, I have to say. Okay,
Really?
one of the good medication being invented. I have all the strength in my fridge, a lot of pens in the fridge. But of course, it is medication, right? It's not one thing can do everything. So, but what happened to this medication is so good that they do multiple things. So, firstly, of course, Ozempic is invented for diabetes, right? So, because every time after we eat the I think it's the L cell and the C cell will produce the GIPA and GLP. Then actually they will go to the pancreas. Then they squeeze the pancreas for insulin. So that's why they are really good for diabetes. Or maybe for us already have insulin resistance and those issues. So they actually will stimulate the pancreas. Then they also slow down the guts. So when they slow down the guts mean what? Means more absorption, right? More digestion, more absorption. So then after that they go to our hypothalamus. Then they go to the ventral, I think it's called ventral median nucleus, which is the happiness nucleus or the satiety nucleus. So satiety nucleus and happiness is actually together. So they actually stimulate that nucleus, means we are happier. So it is a good medication. So
So
so when you lose weight, yeah,
yeah,
you lose weight.
I'm now thinking of the downsides, which I'm seeing a lot at the gym that I work at. I'm dealing with
Yeah,
clients, I coach clients strength training, um, who are on these drugs. And the rate that they're losing weight at and the muscle loss and the strength,
yeah.
even though they're still doing the strength training once, twice a week with us, I'm noticing a massive difference. And I'm also worried about the potential increased risk of micronutrient deficiencies.
Yeah, so this is where I do a bit different in this pharmacy.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So of course give the medication out, then explain to them about the muscle loss as well as the fat loss, right? Because the body can't differentiate where to go, right? They will take some muscle out, they'll take some fat out. So actually I offer body comp here as well. So I do the quad scan here, so which is the 4 different frequency, measure their baseline, then talk to them, then actually explain to them about other things like how the body actually produce the energy. So drugs is number one. Actually, I have 4 protocol for them. So then, okay, drugs is number one. Then second, you need to jump onto your nutrition, increase the protein intake. And the third one, you can use the thermogenic maybe supplement or maybe food like green tea and other thing. Then the last thing is actually about exercise. So actually, I have these four protocol for them. Talk about that. Spend a lot of time. Sometimes actually I didn't really charge them. I just sell the medication. Do a lot of hard work. That's why you see getting old. So, but the thing is, this customer, they are not one-time customer. They become your forever customer,
Yeah.
right? They come back, they ask you, they believe in you. And sometimes the most important part of the job is like I felt like so rewarded. You go home and you drive home and you feel like, yeah, I changed something. I have done something. So this is a very different thing. So, but of course, not just giving out as an Ozempic as a pharmacist, but actually I do a lot more there to explain, to put it all together. So
Okay.
yeah.
So you're giving them more support than just giving them the medication, which I
Yeah,
think is
that's
the
right.
right thing to do. And
That's right.
what about my other concern is when they stop the medication.
This is a hard one actually. I actually don't know what will happen, but I always recommend to reduce it slowly.
So
Of
gradually.
course, yeah, gradually. Then if we know that that is can't remember the term anymore. The hypothalamus actually have the lipostat, right? So then they will know this is a fat I want in the body. So let's say the body is satisfied with like 120 kilogram of the body weight, right? Because of the medication stimulate the hypothalamus. So that's why they get a bit confused. Oh, yeah. Then you become like 80 kilogram. Suddenly the medication is gone and you don't really have exercise or diet or anything to put it in place, or gut health as well to put it in place. Then the nucleus start to realize, hey, this is wrong. I'm supposed to be 120 kilogram. And you just put it back on. It's not because of you didn't do anything. It's just because of the nucleus decide that you're supposed to have this body weight based on blah, 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 hormone issue, based on other things. So you're supposed to be in 120 kilogram. So that's why this is a hard one. Yeah. But I normally advise, just my advice, it's not, it's not, it's just my opinion. I normally advise to reduce slowly. So of course, like because of the care, I say you need to do this, right? Exercise, fine. It is, okay. One thing I always tell all my patient, medication is actually to buy us time. It's actually just to buy us time. It's not a fix. It's just to buy us time for us to find a solution. Antidepressant just to buy us time to sort out all our problem, right? Then in order to sustain the serotonin and those things, just to buy us time while we start to maybe boost the production of the serotonin, or maybe we eat better, we take care of ourselves, it's just to buy us time. So Ozempic is just to buy us time. It
That's a
wouldn't
good way
work.
to frame it. That's a good way to
Yeah.
frame it because I feel like people nowadays are just looking at it as a quick fix, and
Yeah.
And they can get
Yeah.
it anywhere nowadays.
That's the problem. My friend, he's using Ozempic, so he's a lawyer. So he's like big man. He's using Ozempic and he's using phentermine, which is the weight loss stimulant, right? And he's sitting in his office watching YouTube and losing weight.
Yeah.
This is not fair, and I have to go for a swim, I go for a run, and you're sitting there doing nothing, then you're losing weight. But of course, the side effect is like you won't feel fit, you won't feel strong.
No.
So you won't feel strong. So you just feel like I'm losing weight. I feel weak. I feel lousy. I feel like ill. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any other questions? No, Helen?
Was it okay? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Great.
So yeah, I don't know what I present, but it's a lot of things inside. I just
I know.
vomit it out.
And it's very late for you, and yeah, it is a big topic.
I know a lot of professional here, so I'm just
you could do
I'm just a learner here.
you could do a whole
Yeah.
course on this topic. But yeah, any last minute questions, feel free to put it in the chat box. If not, you have our contact details. So if you can think of anything, feel free to email and I can always forward it to Sim to answer the question.
Yeah. Any feedback, let me know as well. Anything I can improve, let me know as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And thank you for sharing your views, Sim.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity. Because of the diploma course, then be able to talk to a lot of expert here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.